All right, today we're doing a teardown of a FinTech app that seems to have done the impossible. They've figured out how to make investing just as addictive as scrolling through your social feed. Seriously, let's get into it.
So that's the big question, right? How do you actually do that? How do you take something that can feel kind of stuffy, like investing, and make it compete with the endless dopamine-fueled scroll of TikTok? Well, that's the exact puzzle Alinea, the app we're looking at today, has built its entire company around answering.
And here it is. This is Alinea. Just look at it for a second. Everything you see, from that really clean, modern logo to its whole mobile-first design, it's all on purpose. It's designed to feel less like some intimidating old-school bank and way more like an app you'd actually, want to open.
Okay, so to really understand why Alinea is making such waves, you gotta understand the problem they set out to solve first. And believe me, it is a big one. It really all comes down to tearing down these huge walls that have kept so many young people from even thinking about investing. I mean, look at what they're doing here. They've got an AI companion to make it less scary. They have goal-based automation to remove all the friction, and, this is huge, they've baked in community features so you're not just out there on your own trying to figure it all out.
So what's their secret? What's the formula? Well, they've basically cooked up this brilliant approach that makes wealth building feel less like homework and a whole lot more like, your favorite app you use every day. Let's dive into exactly how they do it.
Okay, their absolute secret weapon is this feature they call investing playlists. And it's as cool as it sounds. Seriously, think of a Spotify playlist, but instead of songs, you're curating a collection of stocks based on a theme you actually care about, like clean energy or women in charge. It's genius because it takes this thing that's usually done alone and makes it totally social.
And this line right here, investing is easy as texting. That pretty much sums up their entire philosophy. It's all about stripping away the complicated jargon, the confusing charts, all the stuff that's made finance feel so walled off and intimidating for, well, pretty much forever.
Right, so a slick app and a cool user experience are great, but you gotta have a solid business model, right? So how does Alinea actually make money? Let's get into their payment system, because honestly, it's just as groundbreaking as the app itself.
It all starts with this one simple number. $120 a year. Instead of all those confusing, murky, percentage-based fees that you see everywhere else, Alinea just has one flat annual subscription. That's it. Simple. No hidden surprises.
And this is where it gets really interesting when you compare it to the old way of doing things. On the one hand, you have the traditional model, where they take a percentage of your assets. So as your money grows, you actually pay them more. It almost feels like you're getting penalized for doing well, right? But then you look at Alinea's flat fee model. It completely flips the script. Your success is your success, period. Their fee doesn't change.
Now, we should also talk about another way FinTech apps sometimes make money, and that's something called payment for order flow. It's a little technical, but it's basically when a broker gets a kickback for sending your trades to a certain place. Our sources don't actually say whether Alinea uses this or not, so we can't be sure. But it's just something to keep in the back of your mind when you're looking at any FinTech platform. For Alinea, though, that subscription fee is their main, publicly stated revenue stream.
So, you're probably wondering, how in the world do they pull all this off? Let's pop the hood for a minute and check out the tech that makes this whole thing run so smoothly. And the big secret? It's all about choosing the right partners.
You can kind of think of their tech stack like a recipe with 3 key ingredients. First, you've got the brokerage engine. That's powered by a company called DriveWealth, and they handle all the nitty-gritty of fractional shares and custody. Then, for linking up your bank account, they use Plaid, which is the gold standard for doing that securely. And finally, the AI brains. That's their integrated co-pilot, Ali, who really guides the user.
This whole model is what we call brokerage as a service, and it is an absolute game changer in the FinTech world. What it means is Alinea didn't have to go out and build all that complicated, super regulated financial plumbing from scratch. No way. They just plug into DriveWealth's APIs. This lets them focus all of their time and money on what we actually see and use, building a killer app that's easy and even fun to use.
And then there's Ali, the AI. This is really at the heart of the experience. And listen, this is not just some basic chatbot. Think of Ali as your own personal financial co-pilot. She's there to answer your questions, explain what's happening in the market in plain English, and basically act as your guide to help you get more comfortable and confident with investing. So, the big question is, does all this work? Has this combination of slick tech, a simple business model, and AI guidance actually paid off? Well, the numbers speak for themselves. Let's take a look.
Just check out this timeline. They start out in 2021, fresh out of the Y Combinator Accelerator. By early 2024, they've got 250,000 downloads. And then boom, by April 2025, they've crossed 1 million users and secured over 10 million in funding. That is an absolutely explosive growth curve. It's so clear that what they're doing is really hitting home with people.
But what's maybe even more incredible is who is using the app. I mean, look at these demographics. 92% women, 70% Gen Z. Alinea is reaching an audience that the traditional financial industry has, frankly, struggled to connect with for decades. They're tapping into a whole new generation of investors.
So how did they get so big so fast? It wasn't just about throwing money at ads. They built a genuine community. They mastered content-led growth, especially on TikTok. We're talking over 100 million views for their hashtag. And they were able to convert that buzz into more than 2 million downloads. That is how you build a modern brand. And that momentum just keeps going. The latest number they're claiming is over 2 million members. That's not just a successful app anymore. That is a major player in the entire consumer fintech space.
And when you boil it all down, this quote really says it all. Wealth building for new investors, packaged like a modern consumer app. That's the magic right there. They took something complex and, let's be honest, kind of scary, and they gave it the look, feel, and simplicity of an app you'd use every single day.
So where does this all leave us? Well, it points to a really fascinating and maybe even provocative question about the future. As AI tools like Ali get more and more powerful, what does that mean for personal finance? I mean, are we heading for a world where your next and maybe even your most trusted financial advisor is an AI? It's definitely something to think about.